Hi everyone, for this video I would like to show you guys how I actually apply eyeshadow application on deep set eyes like mine, and this can also be applicable for people who have heavy eyelids because if I look forward like straight into the camera or into you, you can see that my lids are almost hitting my eyelashes. So I think this is one eye shape that some people have difficulty putting on eyeshadow with, and I am hoping that in me doing this video, it can be helpful to those in need. Now, one thing before we proceed, I do apologize for the change in light, mainly because it's very windy and the trees are rustling, so it's changing the way light comes into the house, and I'm only using natural light as always. Alright, so first thing is first, I have all of my skincare down. By the way, it's all listed in the description box, and I'm just going to concentrate on doing my eyes today. Now, the thing with deep set eyes or hooded eyes is that light doesn't really reflect off of the mobile lid, because when we look straight, it gets covered by the crease or the fold of the eye. And also, one other thing that describes deep set eyes or hooded eyes is that we have so much space here caused by our brow bone. So that's one thing that we should also consider and try to not eliminate, but try to define so that we are able to create a nice lifted look on the eyes, because this very prominent brow bone that we have actually makes our eyes look very sleepy. And in the future, as we tend to get older and gravity pulls on everything, this can also tend to make our eyes droop, and it also can make it look downturned. So we should always be try to take care of our eyes as early as possible. That's why I always moisturize this part. I put eye cream, I put sunscreen, especially on my brow bone, just so that it doesn't get photo damage from the sun. Now, if I want to keep my eyes very light and fresh, I just use a very nice brightening eye base. So for example, this paint pot from MAC Cosmetics. So this is in soft ochre. And all I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to gently spread it all over the eye. And what this does is, because it has a very nice yellow tone to it, so it will work really well with my skin. And this just automatically removes any redness that we see on the eyelid, and this in turn just makes the eye look bright already. It's very awake already, and it's just a very minimal eyeshadow application. So can you see the difference between this eye and this eye? This eye is instantly awake and very bright, while this one is just fine, but it's not as bright and it's not reflecting the light back into the world. Okay, so I'm just gonna apply a thin layer all over my other eyelid. And just like that, with a very nice wash of eye base all over the eyelid, it instantly brightens the eye. Now, if you're someone who doesn't like to use a lot of eyeshadows on the eyes because you find it very tedious, one of the easiest products that you can use is actually like a liquid eyeshadow or a cream eyeshadow. And I'm going to be using this liquid eyeshadow from Lisa Eldridge, and this is in the color Angelica. And what I'm going to do is that I have a little bit of the product here at the back of my hand, and I'm just going to load it here on the brush. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply it all over my mobile lid and spread it well into my crease. And I'm going to blend it well into my socket line. And that's just it. Very easy, very simple. One wash of color that can also help in brightening up the eye, dressing up the eye, and making it look very nice, bright, and awake. Now, if you're like me and you have this very heavy brow bone, which is very prominent, and you find that you're losing the definition on your eye and you just want to enhance it a bit, not make you look sleepy, what you can do is you can actually use a nice matte brown eyeshadow color like this one. And I'm just loading a little bit of that on this brush. And as you can see, the product is here on the brush tip. I'm just going to remove some of the excess so that it doesn't fall down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this brush where the product is located on the brush head into my crease and my socket line. And I'm just going to lightly apply that in that area and try to blend it in an upward motion into my brow bone, because what this does is that it just diminishes all of the space that we have here, and this can really help create a nice lift for us. And I'm just lightly blending it all over my crease and into my socket line. Now, by the way, when I say crease, you see this line here? That is my crease. Now, if you see this like deepness here, that's actually my socket line. So I am just loading the brush head in between my crease and my socket line. And this just really helps to instantly apply the product in all of the right places. And I'm actually just having trouble here because I actually prefer to look straight into the mirror when I am doing this, because when I'm looking straight, you can instantly see where the crease folds into my eyelid, and this just really helps in enabling me to create a nice lifted look by knowing where to blend it. Okay, so I'm just spreading the product and blending it out. Okay, when you're blending, always remember that you have to blend it upward and outward. And if you are having trouble and trying to envision on how you blend it, just imagine the shape of an egg on your eye, like like this, because that already helps you to create the shape that you need and the lift that you also need. See, it's still very, very natural, but it's more defined and lifted, and it's not overly so. Now, one other thing, by the way, if you've been following me here on my channel for quite some time, you would have noticed that every time I put like a eyeshadow look on my eyes, I rarely apply highlighter in my brow bone area, because again, I'm trying to diminish all the space that we have here. And if you are actually good at blending out your eyeshadow colors extremely well, you would notice that the eyeshadow actually blends into the natural tones of your skin, and this just creates a very nice natural highlight on your brow bone. And when I'm finished blending and I look myself in the camera or in the mirror and I like what I see, I don't need to apply any highlighter anymore because my skin is already doing that. And the other thing that I like to do when I'm applying eyeshadows like this is that I have this imaginary line that I use to connect my lower waterline to my outer lash line in the top. And this is the area where I actually end or begin my eyeshadow application, because this just really helps create a nice lift on the eye. Now, one other thing is that I don't really like to apply like, colors in my lower lash line, mainly because I really love how these kind of an eyeshadow application makes my eyes look lifted. But if I want to become more playful with my eye look, this is just one tip I would like to share with you guys, because if you have deep set eyes like I do, or maybe heavy eyelids or downturned eyelids, we have this crease here that we see at the very outer edge of our eye. So we actually have to create the illusion of removing this crease so that it just helps in creating a much more nicer eye look on the eye. And you can actually use like a concealer to do that, like when you're correcting. But sometimes what I like to do is I actually like to apply the eye base. For example, I still have the eye base here on my brush from the MAC paint pot, and I'm just going to gently tap it there. Now, I really like this for myself because it is yellow toned, and of course even my skin has yellow in it, so this eye base will just really help in just removing the redness in that part, because again, with like creases on the eye, because it's constantly rubbing on itself, it tends to become, or it tends to look quite red on the skin, and the yellow tone on this paint pot will just really remove that. And the best thing that I have learned is that using an eye base or a paint pot in this part will just really help in making your eyeshadow adhere properly onto the skin, and it won't really crease. Okay, so I'm just blending it out now. So again, as you can see, instantly by just using an eye base, we have already created a very nice lift on this eye in comparison to this eye. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to define this eye further and make it look more lifted. And what I'm going to do now is with this definer brush or any flat top brush that you have, I'm going to take the same, like, very neutral brown eye shadow that we have in this palette. And I'm just going to use this here in the outer portion of my eye. And then what I'm going to do is I have to look straight for this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect that eyeshadow at the very end of the eyeshadow that I applied here on my top eyelid. And this just already helps to create a very nice, much more defined look. So all we have to do right now is just to blend everything. So I'm just removing the excess product here at the back of my hand. And I'm just going to blend everything into my socket line. Again, blending is the key. Now the nice thing about putting on like a eye base in this part, like what we did earlier, is that it just mattifies the area and it just diminishes the ability of that part to actually reflect the light back, because sometimes I have noticed that when there's just too much light going on, we tend to have like a reflection here at the outer corner of the eye, and that just like diminishes the illusion that we're trying to create. So by putting on an eye base here and putting on a matte eyeshadow, it just helps us to create the look that we are going for, making it look defined all the time. Okay, so I'm just going to blend everything now, trying to soften out the edges, try to create a nice lift. And as you guys can see, I'm just like running the brush along the entire length of my socket line, just along my crease, and ending here a little bit above my crease. Okay, so now with a clean blending brush, I'm just going to run this across the entire socket of the eye, and just to blend it out further, just to soften the edges. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to define my upper lash line, and with a smudger brush, I'm going to pick up the darkest brown shade here on this quad. This is the Chanel Clair-Obscur Le Cat Ombre. By the way, this was gifted to me by my good friend Neil. Thank you so much, who lives in Singapore. Anyway, so I'm just tapping the excess here at the back of my hand. And what I'm doing now is I'm just going to gently apply the color here very thinly across my entire upper lash line. Sorry, I'm just looking down in the mirror right now. And I'm not actually like applying a very thick layer of like eyeliner on my lash line, because the sad thing about having deep set eyes or heavy eyelids is that when you actually open your eyes, the crease actually almost hits the eyelashes, and like it kind of makes your graphic eyeliner appear useless, because it just will disappear, especially when you're looking at someone straight into their eyes looking forward. It just disappears. So having a thin eyeliner like this, like applying it in a smoky way here along the lash line, will just really help in defining your lash line, and this will just really help you look more awake. Just make sure that when you're applying the eyeshadow or eyeliner product, you always have to go well into the inner portion of the eye here, because this will just really help in elongating your eye and just really defining it. And as you can see, in comparison to my other eye, just applying a very thin layer of this very dark eyeshadow, dark brown eyeshadow on my upper lash line, has really already emphasized my eye, and it has already helped to make it look very wide awake and alert. So I actually want to deepen my eyeliner a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the tips of this brush, and I'm going to go back into this dark brown eyeshadow on this palette, And I am just going to apply more intensity into the lash line. Alright, so I'm actually quite happy with that now. So as you can see, my eyes is quite defined. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some mascara. So this is actually a tubing mascara from VMV Hypoallergenics. I love it. It adds a lot of volume into the eyes and it covers every single strand of my eyelashes. And it just really helps to create that volume. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to concentrate a lot of the product here in the outer portion of my eye, and I'm applying it at a little bit of like a slanted angle, because this can also really help in creating a nice lift for us. Alright, so as you can see, my mascara has really helped in opening up my eye and also creating a nice lifted look. Okay, and now one other tip that I like to do is that after I have applied some mascara or even like false eyelashes, I look at myself in the mirror and we can actually see where the tips of your eyelashes actually create a natural shadow. If I would say that's the best thing that I could describe it on your eyelid. So what I like to do now is that I actually go back and pick up like maybe a mix of this dark brown shade here and this medium brown shade here into a brush like this. This is called the Mini Booster from Sonia G. And with my eyes open, what I actually love to do is that I actually apply some eyeshadow in this part here, just at the area where my tips of my eyelashes cast a natural shadow caused by the light, because this will just really help in emphasizing my eyes. So just blending out the edges now, and as you can see, if I step back, my eye has been enhanced further. It is now much more defined, but again, it's still very soft, so it's not overly done. And I'm just using brown shades here, very neutral brown shades, and this is just going to emphasize that part of my eye, and it's also already defining it, and we are already losing a lot of this space that is causing our eyes to look quite heavy and droopy and very deep set. And right now, with the brush that I used earlier, I'm just going to blend out the edges further. And with this kind of technique, you can use whatever eyeshadow color that you want to. Just be very careful with how you blend it and what colors you use, and don't use a lot of colors because sometimes they can tend to look muddy, okay? And if you find that you want to add more drama, you can add some shimmer. So let's add some shimmer here in the inner corner, and I would like to use this very nice orangey shade just for fun, and I'm just going to apply it here in this area, because this is already the part where my eyes reflect light. And if I want to add more drama, let me get this eyeshadow brush. This is the Builder 2 brush, and I'm just going to pick up this very nice sugary color here, and I'm just going to tap it gently here in the middle of my mobile eyelid, just so that we have more light that reflects off of there. Alright, and just like that, my eye is a little bit dressed up now with all the shimmer that we have in the middle of my mobile lid, and it's still looking quite awake and alert, and it's not overly done, which is actually great. Now the other eye look that I love to wear on myself is smoky eyes, because I can just really create this very nice lifted eye look, and I love when it becomes very sooty and very smoky, because it just makes it look very sultry, and I just love it. And wearing a smoky eye can just really help in creating a different eye shape for us, making it more elongated and more cat-like in a way. So that's one thing that I actually love to wear. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish with the other eye so that we have balanced eye look for today. Now, while I am completing this eye look, I am not going to add the shimmer colors because I want you guys to see the difference between one eye that has shimmer and the one eye that's just well blended out, so that you can see that even if you don't add shimmer products into the eye, if you just blend it out and you apply colors in a much more defined and a precise manner on the eye, it still looks beautiful. Alright, so you can actually further enhance your eye look by using false eyelashes. Now, personally, I do not like very thick, overly fluttery eyelashes because when you use that, the thickness of it just really covers the eyeshadow look that you're creating. So that's like, it kind of like defeats the purpose, right? Because if you use a very thick, fluttery, false eyelash, it's just going to be all black. Anyway, so I actually like to use these corner type of false eyelashes. I'm not going to stick it down. I'm just going to lay it here on this side. And just so that you guys can see, by applying a nice false eyelash like this, it just really elevates your eye look. Love this. It also reminds me of like it has a nice 50s vibe. But then again, it also just really helps to create this very nice lifted appearance on the eyes. I love this eyelash. I bought this in Vietnam years ago, and unfortunately, I only have a few of that left. Now, if you're someone who has very, very big real estate on the eyes, using big, long falsies like this one can really help, but this will not look good on me because it's just going to cover my entire eye. Although, as you guys can see, it's like, really helping in creating this very nice lifted look, but it's just way too much because I do not have a very big space in my eyes. But if you're someone who's uncomfortable with wearing false eyelashes, one alternative for you is that you use individual eyelashes. And the great thing about using individual eyelashes is that you can actually create your very own eyelash look. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just adding a few of these medium black tapered eyelashes here in the outer corner of my eye. So I'm just like laying 3 pieces here, and then I'm picking up some of these short flared eyelashes, and maybe I'm just going to add like 2 right after the 3 individual eyelashes that I just laid on top. And as you guys can see, that also has already created a very nice, like, very lifted look. And it's concentrating all of the deepness here in the outer corner, which just really helps to elongate the eye and just to recreate this depth here at the outer corner, just to create that very nice lift. Maybe I'm going to add 1 more. There, that's so much better. Perfect. And the thing with like individual false eyelashes, it's very easy to use and it's very light on the eyes, like super. Alright, so all of the eyelashes are now down. This type of eyeshadow application and false eyelash application is actually great for people who have deep set eyes or like, heavy eyelids, because it just really helps to create a very nice lift on the eye. And by the way, this is the first time that I'm using this Le Cat Ombre from Chanel in the shade 308 Clair-Obscur. I really love the neutral tones of the browns here. It's very beautiful. It's very easy to apply, very easy to blend. So thank you so much again, Neil, for sending this to me. I love it. So this is the complete look. And if you have any more questions about all of the products that I use today and how I apply eyeshadow looks for deep set eyes or for heavy eyelids, please leave them down at the comments box and let's have a conversation about it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye.